Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, let's dive into something that can really drive Dodge owners crazy. A super common error code that can cause a ton of headaches if you don't know what's going on. You know the feeling, right? You're just cruising along, minding your own business, and then there it is. That glowing check engine light pops up on your dash. Your stomach just drops. What is it? Is this going to be expensive? Well, if you're in a Dodge, there's a really good chance that the troublemaker is a code called P0135, and we're about to break down exactly what your car is trying to tell you and what you can actually do about it. So let's get right to it. What in the world is this P0135 warning? What message is your car desperately trying to send when this specific code shows up? Okay, so here's the official super technical name for it. O2 sensor 1/1 heater performance. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a whole lot of jargon. But trust me, every single word in that phrase is a clue, and we're going to figure them all out. All right, let's break that technical phrase down into pieces we can actually understand. To really get a grip on the problem, you got to know who the main players are in this little drama happening under your hood. First up, we've got the oxygen sensor, or O2 sensor for short. Just think of this thing as the nose of your exhaust system. Its whole job is to sniff the exhaust fumes, figure out how much unburnt oxygen is left over, and report back. That information is absolutely crucial for your engine to get the air-to-fuel mix just right. So what about that heater performance part of the code? Well, that O2 sensor is kind of useless when it's cold. It has to get nice and hot to work properly. And that's where the heater circuit comes in. Its one and only job is to heat that sensor up, and fast. It's kind of like preheating your oven before you start to cook. The sensor needs that blast of heat to give good readings from the moment you start the car. And who's running this whole show? Well, that's the powertrain control module, or the PCM. This is literally the brain of your engine. It's the computer that's listening to that O2 sensor. And if it notices that the heater circuit isn't getting that sensor hot fast enough, bam, it throws up that P0135 warning light. And it's not just an annoying light. It's a real warning that your engine isn't running at peak efficiency, which can totally tank your gas mileage and even make you fail an emissions test. So we get the system now, the brain, the sensor, and its heater. But when it all goes wrong, what's usually the culprit? Let's line up the four usual suspects for a P0135 code. And here's the good news. This particular code almost always boils down to just one of four main problems. That makes diagnosing it a whole lot easier. And here's the lineup. First, you've got problems with the wiring, either the heater control circuit or the heater ground circuit. Next, it could just be that the O2 sensor itself has gone bad. And finally, and this is much less common, the problem could actually be with the main computer, the PCM. Now, pay close attention because this is probably the most important clue you're going to get. The most common cause, by a long shot, is a problem with the O2 sensor's heater control circuit. That's a huge hint. It means you or your mechanic should be looking at a bad wire or a loose connection first. Okay, now that we know what we're looking for, let's get practical. Here is your step-by-step game plan, a clear checklist to track down the real root of the problem. You can see how this diagnostic process works, right? It's all about starting with the most likely culprits. So for the first two, the circuits, you're just checking the wiring and connections for any obvious damage. If all that looks good, then you move on to the next suspect, the O2 sensor itself. And only if a new sensor doesn't fix it, do you even start to think about the least likely problem, a bad PCM. All right, let's bring it all home. We've gone from that sinking feeling you get from a check engine light to a really clear, logical path to getting it fixed. When you boil it all down, it's really just these four simple steps. 1, you identify the code, P0135. 2, you understand what parts are involved. 3, you check out the four possible causes, starting with the most common one. And then 4, you apply the right fix. Simple as that. And that's really the whole point. You're not in the dark anymore. Whether you're taking your Dodge to a mechanic or you're popping the hood yourself, you now have the knowledge to have an intelligent conversation about what's wrong and why. You're empowered. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you know the system, for your Dodge with its P0135 code, what's your gut say? Is it the wire, the sensor, or the computer? The cool thing is, you now have the framework to actually find out.